Hey everybody. I just want to come on here and give a brief review of Precedence. I happened to watch it early this morning. I It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, like 1:20, almost 2 o'clock when I got into the site. The site was overloaded because of the traffic, and it is a new site, so technical difficulties were expected. But I was pleased. I was pleasantly surprised and pleased with how well the documentary was done. To me, it did a good job of showing both sides, which I expected it to do. And it leaves it up to the viewer to decide who to believe. But based on Azriel in part three and part four, I watched part three and part four first before I went back and watched part one and part two because I really wanted to get the gist of what happened between Azriel and Joycelyn and Azriel flip-flopping. And I knew the site was experiencing a lot of crashes, so I wanted to watch part three and part four first, and then go back and watch part one and part two. But like I said, it did not disappoint. This documentary definitely helps R. Kelly's defense because it clearly shows Azriel telling her father, plain as day, that don't say I didn't call you and I could have called you, but R. Kelly told me to call you several times. I just didn't want to call y'all because y'all were always fussing and arguing. And your wife, she calls her mother Angelo's wife. She says your wife. So she was looking at Angelo and she was like, your wife always cussing and fussing and all that foolishness. Basically, I'm paraphrasing what she said. But at the end of the day, that clip right there is the only clip the defense needs to prove that Azriel is a liar, because she said a completely different story a couple weeks later. R. Kelly went from being this wonderful person to all of a sudden he was having sex and with all these different men, even though she admits that R. Kelly never let her around men. So if R. Kelly never lets you around men, why would he have you in the room having sex with men? Or Joycelyn having sex with men if he is very overprotective of his women? And from what I understand, I don't think R. Kelly, if he was bisexual, I don't think he would go and have sex with a random man in front of any woman because he would be scared they'd go back and tell it. So I don't really believe any of the bisexual rumors. But if he was bisexual, like I said before in a previous video on my other channel before it was terminated, um, it wouldn't matter to me. I wouldn't love him any less. It is what it is. Everybody has a right to their own sexuality. But I believe when R. Kelly says he's a straight man, he's a straight man. And that's neither here nor there. Who cares if what happened? The point is, Azriel admitted that she was able and free to call her parents, that R. Kelly told her to call her parents, and that she chose not to call them, that she was the one telling R. Kelly, nah, 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 I don't want to call him, I don't want to talk to him. And I believe that. Based on how strong-willed that Azriel is, I don't believe that anybody can force Azriel to do something that she doesn't want to do, because she's very outspoken and she is a very outgoing personality. So I believe when she said in the first part of the documentary before she flipped that R. Kelly told her to call her father and she chose not to, and that it's her right not to call her parents, and if she was homeless on the street and she had a cell phone and she didn't feel like calling, she didn't have to call. She said that. So when she said that, that was the truth. That was the utmost truth. I do not believe Azriel was ever abused. And the fight with Joycelyn, you can clearly see that she instigated the whole thing. Joycelyn was very protective of R. Kelly and his belongings. She wanted to make sure R. Kelly's Grammys and his prizes were protected, and I respect that. And I know I've said a lot about Joycelyn going back and forth because I don't know if she's going to be loyal, or I don't know if she's going to, flip on him. But at the end of the day, you know, we have to prepare ourselves for all eventualities. But I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I give Joycelyn the benefit of the doubt until she comes out and says, hey, R. Kelly's a this and R. Kelly's a that. So for right now, like I always say, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, but I still don't trust her. But she seems to love R. Kelly. Now, Azriel made a statement that she told Joycelyn, you're second. You're second under me. Like during the whole thing when she was at Trump. And I just found that to be, wow. She really instigated that whole fight. She really knew what to say to push the buttons because she knew Joycelyn was in love with R. Kelly. So she knew saying, "Oh, you're second under me," makes her feel like, "Oh, you're trying to throw shade." So I could see why why the fight happened. Azriel was totally responsible for that fight. She was totally in the wrong. Joycelyn was going up against a monster. I can only imagine what vindictive stuff Azriel has done during her relationship with R. Kelly. Uh, she claims in when she was talking to the feds when she was in the bathroom when she told them that she ate shit. She said she ate her own shit. She said she took a shit and she ate it, and then R. Kelly told her it wasn't convincing enough. So somebody they bleeped the name out, but I'm guessing it was Joycelyn. It sounded like they said Joycelyn, but it was bleeped out that she said Joycelyn. That oh my God, he made me go eat some fast food, and old girl gave her some fast food so that she could take another shit and she could eat some more shit on camera. It sounded so ridiculous. Um, to me, if somebody made her eat shit and do all of that craziness, she wouldn't have been talking so lovingly about him in the first part of the documentary. And that's the part that I that I pay attention to. Because it's no way you could talk so lovingly about a man if he did all that stuff to you. She just went and she looked up the allegations against R. Kelly and put her own spin on it. It's easy for anybody to accuse R. Kelly. All you got to say, he held you against your will. He kidnapped you. I could go out here, even though I never been in R. Kelly's presence personally. I've been to concerts, but I've never met him one on one and said hello. I can probably go and say, "Oh, R. Kelly came to my city and he had me kidnapped in a hotel room," even though I never met the man, and they'll probably add me to the indictment. So at the end of the day, this was a needed documentary. A lot of people thought Shabazz was going to throw R. Kelly under the bus. He did not do that. It was a fair documentary to both sides, like it had to be. He had to discuss the allegations. And it's up to the viewer. Unlike Lifetime, that was telling people R. Kelly is guilty, he's bad, he's evil. This was a true documentary that left it up to the viewers to take what they wanted to take from him. He told all sides, and it was needed. And this is a documentary because the prosecutors are going to show Surviving R. Kelly in court. Greenberg needs to show this documentary in court and show Azriel talking with her father about not being kidnapped and held against her will, and not being mistreated and not being harmed, and the fact that she chose on her own free will, because she always had a phone, she chose on her own free will to not call her father. And she has a lot of animosity to her mother. And when they were sitting down talking, it sounded to me like Angelo and Azriel, like I said many times in the past, they were talking like they were a couple. That wasn't a father-daughter conversation. They were talking, she kept saying, your wife, like she was jealous that her mother was with her dad. I think Azriel, and I've said it again, and I've said it again, Azriel and Angelo have a sexual relationship, and they had a sexual relationship for a while. The reason Angelo went so hard on R. Kelly is because he wanted to fuck himself. He was mad that R. Kelly was getting all the sex and he was getting no sex. So that's why he went so hard on R. Kelly. He was behaving like a jealous lover. all over the city, all over this country, all over the media. Angela was. So when I saw that interaction between them, and she kept saying your wife instead of mom, she never said mom. She kept saying your wife. I think that that was a pure indicator of her being, extremely jealous of her mother. And look out for Azriel to possibly kill her parents in the long run. The girl is a psychopath. I could see her killing her mother, definitely poisoning her mother. I keep going back to that Snapchat video where she put something in the donuts, and she likes to put things in people's foods. Ain't no telling what she did to Joycelyn. Ain't no telling what she did to R. Kelly. I do not believe that R. Kelly's ex-girlfriend, Vita, poisoned Azriel. That's something that Tasha K said. I believe that Azriel poisoned Vita to scare her off so that she can have R. Kelly. Because you see, she wanted R. Kelly to herself. And when that didn't happen, she flipped the script because she wants to keep him in jail away from Joycelyn. I do not believe that that Joycelyn was second. Because I always saw him with Hallie and Joycelyn. I never saw him out in public with Azriel. I never saw him. We never saw him out in public with Azriel. So he was taking Joycelyn to parties with Snoop Dogg, and Hallie went to parties with him, and they were public. He was public with Joycelyn. So at the end of the day, I'm glad that precedents came out. Shout out to Sabaz for getting this. These are important information. That clip will help R. Kelly. This documentary helps R. Kelly. It does not hurt R. Kelly. Even though Shabazz tell both sides of the story, this documentary is going to help R. Kelly in a court of law, and I'm happy. I'm extremely happy about it. So it's amazing. I'm so glad we got that clip. When she said she wasn't kidnapped and she said that long clip, I said, hallelujah, this is going to be shown in court. This is our reasonable doubt. R. Kelly is coming home. She cannot be trusted. If you're a victim, you're a victim from the door. You're not a victim after he breaks up with you or whatever. And it's just ridiculous. She's so jealous of Joycelyn. And she kept trying to make it seem like Joycelyn is envious of her. And she kept saying that R. Kelly made Joycelyn give back all the bags and give it to Azriel. And he would treat Joycelyn like a dog. And to me, if that was true, and you still stayed with him after you saw how he treated Joycelyn, then you ain't shit woman. You're an ain't shit bitch. If you saw that go down and you were still sitting up here saying that this man is such a wonderful person, then you're ain't shit bitch, not him. Azriel tells so many lies. R. Kelly clearly supported her music career. She has lied too many times. I am happy about this documentary, like I said. It's so much to get into, but I just want to really do a quick video, / review on part 3 and part 4. Azriel is a liar. Precedence is a great documentary. Yes, they didn't have a big budget, but he did okay. He did great job with what he had. And all we needed is that footage of Azriel before the fight. And that is going to get him acquitted. This is Azriel before the fight. That is going to get him acquitted. Anyway, God bless R. Kelly. I hate the fact that he's in jail. Azriel and the Clarys and the Savages will all be exposed. It'll take a while for them to be exposed in the court of law. They've already been exposed to the fans, but being exposed in a court of law is a totally different scenario. And I could see jail time for Azriel because she's told a lot of lies. She basically just copied the other allegations of the other women and try to make it seem like it was factual, it was her story. The documentary helped R. Kelly. This documentary helped R. Kelly. I am pleased. I am happy. Greenberg will show it in court, and it'll be another reasonable doubt that we have. Another set of reasonable doubts for the jury to acquit him on. Anyway, Azriel is a filthy ho, 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 ho.
Angelo's quest to recover and reunite with Azriel finally came to an end.
This is my baby right here.
He reunited with his daughter, and they immediately began to repair a strained father and daughter relationship. Azriel, at the time, seemed to still hold on to a resentment built on everything she had just gone through.
I think we still have to address the elephant in the room. We haven't really taken that time, to do so.
It's not about what the world thought it was about. It was about me getting relationships with my daughter, getting the understanding that she was good. Through all the back and forward, the talk, the media, everything, you got painted a picture. So what I needed was confirmation from my daughter.
I understand that, and I respect that completely. But I feel like for me, where it was so hard for me and why I continue to not have communication with my family is because this Lifetime documentary stuff just happened within the last 2 years. And then out of nowhere, these last 2 years, you hear, oh my God, this is happening. Oh my God, that is happening. I just feel like, how can you be oblivious to the years that I was okay and just snap, oh my God, I need to know where my daughter's at. She's this, she's that. I need to make sure she's okay. Like, I've been okay for 3 years prior. That's where I drew my line, because at that point, I was an adult. And at that point, I felt like I was okay. So to believe something like that, so extreme, so bizarre, so outrageous, I just couldn't even fathom my parents believing something as bizarre as that. I just really couldn't.
And that's fair. But what you gotta understand is, we haven't talked to you after 16. That's when you graduated. That's when things went blank.
It didn't go blank, but communication slowed down, because at that point I was an adult.
Exactly. There was never no black communication. I could show you text messages over and over.
But that's to him.
To him, to your phones, to everybody's phone.
And I would call you guys.
No, I have received on an Apple. I don't have an Apple phone too.
I would call you guys. Don't paint no picture. Like, I have not talked to you guys in over a year, because I would call you guys 4 or 5 months at a time. And when I would call you guys would be yelling. You guys would be cursing me out. Mommy would be yelling at the top of her lungs. And so what I would do, I'd say, okay, I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 months. And then hopefully you just miss me so much that you just want to talk to me and your arms are open. And eventually it got to that. Unfortunately, it took a little bit longer than I anticipated.
Yes. As a parent, guess what? If you did for 4 or 5 months and we didn't hear from you, how do we know?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Before graduation, I was not even checking in every day then.
Yeah, as I talk to you, you'll be like, Dad, I'm busy. I'll call you back. It was no more. You wasn't talking, but you was texting. And if you're free, you'll call me. Hey, Dad, what you doing?
But I didn't do it every day. Now, don't paint no picture like I do every day. Now, maybe like once a week, once every 2 weeks or so.
I didn't have to call you every day. I talked to you.
Okay, so why, when I become 18, 19, 20, 21, I gotta check in with y'all every day?
Where you get that from?
Your wife. This is what you don't understand.
What?
Your wife called me, my mother, saying, oh, there's a lot of rumors going around. I need you to call me every single day. I need to hear your voice every day. I need you to check in with me every day. I said, first of all, I haven't been doing that for these first couple years. So now that I'm an adult, I'm definitely not about to check in with you every day. And that's what started it all. Because of her pride and my pride.
So what
and as
did
an
that
adult,
have to do with me?
you're attached to her. That's your wife. That's your wife.
So I became the enemy with you on the feud.
Because when I would talk to you, you would be young too.
No, because if you saying your beef was with your mother, then you said, oh,
I feel like it was with both of you guys because, like I said, both you and her, when I would call, it was nothing but arguments.
I was never present with you and your mother on the phone. I was never present with you and your mother. That's why I never knew when you and your mother talked. What I did was found out when your mother told me she talked to you and y'all argued or whatever, and I would call you. And you would have that same attitude you and her left with towards me.
Yes, I would.
Okay, but I didn't have anything to do with that. So therefore, give me a chance to pick what side I'm going to be on, who's right and wrong. You came at me aggressive because of you and her.
This is not it, because I know your wife confides in you, and I know she's going to explain it to you.
Exactly. But she's not going to give me everything, evidently.
So as you can see, the elephant still needs to be addressed,
but that's the thing.
Which will be addressed.
What I'm telling you is don't merge us like I never merged you. See, I could have been one of them parents that just felt victim. I made sure you stayed in a certain right. Because was you missed? Yes. I know that how much you love your father. So for me not to talk to you for these terms and these times, it's a problem with me. I don't need to talk to you every day, but I need you to check in and let me know, hey, Dad, I'm fine. So when it comes to me having to track you and run and travel and do all this, it's a problem, man. Especially when I talk to your better half at that time. He'd make it seem like it's a game. And you ain't gonna play games with me, with my child. So the difference was with him, he wasn't dictating that to you. So that's where me and his war started. If he was dictating it to you, you could have put it off by calling me saying, hey, Dad, it ain't like that, I'm good, this and that.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Robert would ask me to call you guys, and no matter what city we were in, he would say, is this your father's number or is this your mother's number? And it would say, call me. And I would say, yes, that is my father's number. He's like, you need to call him. And I would say, I'm not going to call him. Because at that point, the only thing I get is bickering every time I pick up the phone. So if I can avoid it, if I can enjoy myself in this nice little penthouse while we in New York for the weekend, I'm going to enjoy my weekend. It was very suffocating because I was an adult at the end of the day, period. And like I said, I'm not obligated to answer anyone. I know that you are my father and I love you dearly, but if I was a homeless person on the street right now with a cell phone and I did not want to call you, I would have that right. Now, would it make it right? Probably not. But I am obligated to that right if I don't want to.
But me as your father, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hunt every street, every corner, every curve, every bridge until I find you. Because
I feel like I'm looking for hope. It's very hard. I've spent my last years with this man, so it's not something that I can just turn on and off. It's devastating. I feel like I'm a very intelligent, smart, bright 21-year-old. I am definitely young, but I'm very mature in spirit. And I just feel like, anyone who thinks that I'm brainwashed and not, smart enough to make my own decisions, I just feel like that determines how, their mentality. That's not something I can control, but I know that I'm very smart and I know that I'm intelligent, so. Rob, our last conversation that I had with him in Chicago, he inspired me and told me, Bear, just do what you want, do what makes you happy. He told me to continue to pursue my dreams, pursue whatever I want to pursue, and that's really all that I would be able to do. It feels like a high. It feels like, you're in love, you're happy to be in love, and you feel like no matter what you go through with this person, it's worth going through because there's no other person you would want to go through this with. And that's with, you being in love with whoever it is. Not just me and Rob personally, but that could be any other person's relationship. You just feel like no matter what, the good or the bad, you want to go through it with that person. I feel like, truthfully, all of the women that have been associated with Robert, I feel like this is me personally. Once they saw him as a celebrity, not as a human being. They did not meet him at church. They didn't know him no which way, except for as R.Kelly, whether they saw him at a mall, whether they saw him at a movie theater, whether they saw him at a park, whether they saw him at a show. And so, no matter what, all of them met him as a celebrity. And they were infatuated with that celebrity. And because of that, I feel like a lot of them just dated him because of that. Because of who he was, because of the life that he had, because of the life that he could provide them. You know, a lot of them talk about how badly they were tortured, but can you talk about the shopping sprees? Can you talk about you keeping your hair and nails done? Can you talk about all the great times that you had dinner and was spending money and was splurging and was so happy? Because one thing about Robert, he has a very giving heart. And there is no way at all whatsoever that he is a celebrity and he's not giving them a penny to enjoy themselves. And that's where I get so upset, because as a celebrity, he has no reason to keep you kidnapped or keep you tied up. He just has no reason to do that when he can allow you to move freely, take care of you, and still, you know, at the end of the day, whatever will happen, you know. So for people to just say that, you know, oh, I was just kidnapped, or I was tied up, I couldn't leave, I couldn't do this. It's like, what about the good times? I know there were good times.